For many Americans living with reduced kidney function, one of the first instincts is to cut protein as much as possible. But protein still truly matters. Your body uses it to maintain muscle, support immune function, repair tissue, and preserve strength. The real question is not, should I stop eating protein? It is, what kind of protein and how much fits my situation? Imagine a 64-year-old shopper standing in a grocery aisle, comparing an egg carton, tofu, fresh fish, and a package labeled high protein. The front of the package tells only part of the story. For someone with chronic kidney disease, portion size, sodium, potassium, phosphorus, phosphate additives, and the degree of processing may matter. Protein needs can also change with kidney function and whether a person is receiving dialysis. So instead of removing protein on your own, focus on choosing it more carefully and discussing the right amount with your healthcare provider or renal dietitian. That shift, from fearing protein to understanding it, is where smarter kidney-friendly eating begins. That change in perspective leads to another important lesson. Not every protein source affects a kidney-conscious diet in the same way. Two foods may provide a similar amount of protein, yet look very different once you turn the package around. Imagine our 64-year-old shopper comparing fresh fish with a processed high-protein product. Protein grams are only the beginning. For someone living with chronic kidney disease, the bigger picture may include sodium, potassium, phosphorus, phosphate additives, serving size, and how heavily the food has been processed. A product marketed as lean, plant-based, or high-protein is not automatically the better choice. Individual needs also vary. Some people with KKD may need closer attention to potassium or phosphorus, while protein requirements can change with kidney function and dialysis status. That is why the smarter habit is to look beyond the front label, check the nutrition facts and ingredient list, and choose portions based on guidance from a healthcare provider or renal dietitian. This makes choices clearer. Once you start looking beyond protein grams, egg whites become one option worth considering. They provide high-quality protein in a simple food that can fit into some eating plans for people living with chronic kidney disease. But the key word is some. Egg whites are not a treatment for CKD, and eating them should not be presented as a way to lower creatinine. Instead, think of them as one practical choice that may help provide protein without relying on heavily processed meats. In our shopper's kitchen, the difference becomes visible. Rather than reaching automatically for a salty breakfast meat, he prepares egg whites with bell pepper, herbs, and a small amount of olive oil. The meal still contains protein, but the decision is based on the whole plate, not a miracle food claim. Portion size and individual nutrition needs still matter, especially because protein requirements can differ by kidney function and dialysis status. A renal dietitian or healthcare provider can help determine whether egg whites fit your personal plan and how to include them as well. That same careful approach can open the door to tofu, a versatile plant-based protein that may fit into some eating plans for people living with chronic kidney disease. Instead of assuming every plant food is automatically kidney-friendly, the smarter question is how tofu fits into the entire meal and a person's individual needs. Back in our shopper's kitchen, he swaps a processed meat dinner for a modest portion of tofu with vegetables and herbs, adding variety without treating tofu as a miracle food. This substitution may reduce reliance on processed or red meats while still providing protein. But portion size matters, and so can potassium, phosphorus, sodium, and the ingredients in sauces or marinades. A salty tofu dish can look very different nutritionally from simply prepared tofu. For people with KD, laboratory results, kidney function, medications, and dialysis status can influence dietary needs. So tofu may be a useful option, but it belongs within a personalized eating pattern, ideally guided by a renal dietitian or healthcare provider you can trust. From tofu, the next practical option brings us to the seafood counter. Fish, including tilapia, can provide lean protein and may fit into some eating plans for people living with chronic kidney disease. The point is not to treat tilapia as a food that repairs or protects the kidneys. Instead, it can be used as part of a balanced meal and, for some people, as an alternative to processed or larger portions of red meat. At the grocery store, our shopper skips heavily seasoned fish and chooses a tilapia fillet without a salty marinade. At home, he bakes it with lemon and herbs rather than covering it in salty sauces or deep frying it. That simple choice shows why preparation matters as much as the food itself. Sodium, portion size, phosphorus, potassium, and total protein intake may still need attention depending on kidney function, lab results, and dialysis status. Fish can be one useful option, but no single variety is right for everyone with KKD. The goal, variety, appropriate portions, and a preparation that fits a personalized kidney-friendly eating plan. That same idea of balance also applies to what goes beside the main protein on the plate. Quinoa can provide carbohydrates for energy, fiber, and a modest amount of plant-based protein, making it one option for adding variety to meals. But it should not be presented as a kidney-healing food or as something that lowers creatinine on its own. In our shopper's kitchen, a small serving of quinoa replaces part of his usual side dish and is paired with simply prepared vegetables and lean protein. The important lesson is not that quinoa is automatically better than rice or other grains, but that the whole meal matters. For someone with chronic kidney disease, portion size and total intake of protein, potassium, phosphorus, sodium, and calories may need to be adjusted according to kidney function, laboratory results, and dialysis status. Quinoa can be useful when it fits those needs, but there is no universal serving that works for everyone. A renal dietitian or healthcare provider can help determine how grains like quinoa fit into an individualized eating plan too. Now the grocery investigation reveals an even bigger issue. Processed meats can deserve more attention than the protein number alone. Turkey bacon and hot dogs may seem convenient, and words like turkey, lean, or high protein can make a package sound like a smarter choice. But those front label claims do not tell the whole story. Our shopper turns the package around and checks the nutrition facts and ingredient list before putting it in his cart. That simple habit can reveal sodium levels, serving size, and phosphate additives that may matter for people living with chronic kidney disease. This does not mean every processed meat must be labeled dangerous, or that one serving will suddenly damage the kidneys. The more useful lesson is to compare products, watch portions, and consider how often highly processed foods appear in the diet. Individual sodium and phosphorus needs can vary with kidney function and lab results. Instead of trusting marketing words, let the back of the package help guide the choice, and ask a renal dietitian for personalized limits. That same label reading habit matters when the food is plant-based. Beans and lentils can provide a fiber, plant protein, but plant-based does not automatically mean the right choice for every person with chronic kidney disease. Red lentils and black beans are examples of why context matters. Our shopper picks up a can of black beans, turns it around, and notices the sodium per serving and compares lower sodium options. He also remembers that beans and lentils naturally contain potassium and phosphorus, nutrients that some people with KKD may need to monitor depending on kidney function and laboratory results. This does not make these foods dangerous proteins, and many people may still be able to include them in appropriate portions. The practical lesson is to consider serving size, preparation, sodium, and the rest of the meal rather than banning an entire food group. If potassium, phosphorus, or protein has been restricted, a renal dietitian or healthcare provider can help determine which beans, portions, and preparation methods fit your individual plan. That same careful thinking becomes important with concentrated protein products, such as whey supplements. A label that says high protein or healthy does not automatically mean the product fits the needs of someone living with chronic kidney disease. Our shopper sees a tub of whey protein beside grocery aisle and pauses before adding it to his carts. Instead of assuming more protein is better, he considers how much protein he already gets from meals and whether a supplement is necessary at all. The same perspective applies to beef steak. A steak should not be portrayed as a food that instantly raises creatinine or damages the kidneys after one meal. What matters more is portion size, frequency, preparation, and how it fits into the overall eating pattern. Protein needs can differ with kidney function and dialysis status, so adding concentrated supplements without personal guidance might be inappropriate. A smarter move is to review total protein intake with a healthcare provider or renal dietitian before making whey shakes or large portions of meat a habit. And this brings the entire journey back to one practical message. Better kidney-conscious eating is not about searching for a miracle food. It is about making more informed choices, one meal at a time. Back at the kitchen counter, our shopper looks at his usual dinner differently. What is the protein source? How large is the portion? Is the food heavily processed? How much sodium does the label show? And are phosphate additives listed among the ingredients? These simple questions can be more useful than chasing foods advertised as kidney cleansing or capable of lowering creatinine. Chronic kidney disease is not the same for everyone. Protein, potassium, phosphorus, sodium, and calorie needs can vary with kidney function, laboratory results, medications, and especially whether someone is receiving dialysis. That is why major dietary changes should be personalized with guidance from a healthcare professional or renal dietitian. Start small. Examine one meal, read one label, and make one informed change. The goal is not a perfect diet overnight, but a pattern of choices you can understand and sustain.